So looking at the implementation process overall, I really start back a little bit in the design sessions because that really is the beginning of the process. And what I can tell you is we had a really good group of folks in that room. And I'll particularly applaud Manhattan because we had a few individuals in that room that were really good at troubleshooting and meeting our needs, right? And it really goes back to the conversation we had, a conversation I've had recently about we wanted the system to drive the work, right? And so to do that, we had to really get creative, or Manhattan really had to dig into the functionality they put into this platform and say, okay, we can now do this. And so it was interesting to go through that because that built the framework, but that was also where we established our relationship. And the relationship really was, at that point, we knew we had each other. I'll use the cliche, we had each other's backs, but we trusted each other. That was the bigger part of that. I've done an implementation with Manhattan in the past on the inventory optimization platform. So I already knew how the company operated, but we took it to the next level in this one. And really it came down to that commitment and that handshake and then delivering on it. So when we transitioned from the implementation team over to the services team, it was a good transition. And what I mean by that is we had the same level of commitment and support that was already developed with our implementation team. And the big thing for us is when they started coming on site and they spend several days with us and they'd be actively working with us on the floor, seeing the issue in real time, in person. And out of those visits, we had so many things resolved. And that's really where the rubber met the road, because it's one thing to talk about it and send screenshots over and this, that, and the other, but to see it in real life, it made solutioning much faster. And so we were able to resolve problems in a much more expedited manner. And candidly, it was still on-the-job training, right? The folks were actually, on our team, were actually learning in real time how to navigate the system. Yes, you go through all the classroom training and do all that, but then when you're actually trying to do the research and say, what happened? That time spent was invaluable, because that's where really folks built their confidence in the system. From a Manhattan standpoint, they supported us a little bit with project management. And also, as we talked about, that relationship of the give and take of we need something, how do we find a solution for it? It was always done in the earnest of saying, let's understand what you need it for first, not just give us what we asked for, which I liked, because there was a few times they said, well, I understand what you're asking for, but shouldn't you take this path? We think it might help you more. And so we actually made in real time some design changes based on input from Manhattan, because it was a partnership. We were in this together, and you never felt that it was a lopsided relationship. And I'll share a story with you that we had a couple hiccups that were severe in nature. And we're like 2, 3 in the afternoon. I need this fix by 6 a.m. tomorrow. And we made a couple phone calls, and we had the teams work here in the United States and abroad, and we had those fixes installed by 6 a.m. and got us up and running the next day. And actually I shared that story with somebody this morning, and they said, you mean they worked through the night? I said, yeah. And they installed it. I said, yes. And we were up and running at 6 a.m. He goes, Mark, I've never heard of a vendor doing that. That is one of the strong points of Manhattan. And when you can have a team organize and work through the night and provide you a solution in 10 to 14 hours, that doesn't come from a vendor relationship. That comes from a partnership. And I guess the best way to describe it was we were there for each other, but it was truly a partnership. We were there to help each other. We did things in tandem. We supported each other. And so that partnership in this was invaluable to our success.